Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here and welcome to episode 1. I mean 90, I'm not very good with numbers. Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So, as you guessed, Microsoft conference is over and I've had an absolute rollercoaster ride this week of just hate, love, misinformation, rumours and just absolutely everything. So, I have to say straight away that this video is practically just going to be nothing but Microsoft because I won't have enough time to talk about everything else. I've taken the time to try and keep this structured as possible because I had a feeling I might be saying, oh, and this, and this, and this. So, I've kind of done a bit of a list really, so fingers crossed we do have a structured video. But before we move on, I've got a beer which has been opened simply because I've done this video 4 times now. For some reason my camera is misbehaving and keeps cutting out, so fingers crossed we're going to nail it this time. So I'm going to pretend I haven't drank this Desperados and I don't know what it tastes like. It tastes like it did about 20 minutes ago, but it's nice. What it is, it's a tequila slash beer which has got a bit of a limey zest to it and it's very nice. It goes down a bit too easy. So before we start, last week I spoke about fanboys, which are a group of people that love a product so much so if there is a bad thing about that product they cannot see it. But I want to introduce a new word this week, which is hate boys. Now hate boys are just the exact opposite. They will hate something no matter what. Even if there's a good part to that particular product or system, they will not see it and refuse to acknowledge it and just bash it all the time. And they are now called the hate boys. The reason I wanted to say this is because I may say the word hate boy repeatedly all the way through this video, and that's what I mean. So then, going in order, the first piece of information that we actually found out about the Xbox is it's called the Xbox One. Now, as soon as they said them words and it came out of their mouth, I went, Jesus God, no, that's a terrible name, because I've bashed the Wii U so much because it's just a stupid decision to be calling it that, and I feel the same for the Xbox One. Now, the problem is I've been saying that name repeatedly over the last few days now, and the word one is actually starting to sit on me quite well now. I quite like it. It comes out nice and easy, one, and I understand the reason behind it because obviously they just want to say you only need one device to rule them all kind of thing. But that's me just being an Xbox fan. But if I actually put my Jurassic Junkie hat back on, then I am going to turn around and say that's a stupid decision to say, because for one, you had the word infinity which worked well with your logo and it just sounds so much better. And it's just like everybody in the marketing world has just gone to absolute shit because they come out with the name Wii U, absolutely stupid. And how did that actually get through all the levels for someone to agree on? You got Xbox One. I can't understand why they're calling it that. Well, I can, but I'm not 100% happy about it. The only one that's got a good name is PlayStation 4, and that's not because they got great marketing, it's simply because their name was set in stone after they called the PlayStation 2 the PlayStation 2. So let's move on to the conference then. I did enjoy the conference to start off with because it's the first time they haven't actually pussyfooted around and teased you. They kind of just went straight in and went, you've come here to see the new Xbox and this is the new Xbox, and they're showing you in all its glory, and it was refreshing for them to not beat around the bush and show it you straight away. Now, I actually knew this conference was actually going to be about the hardware, and I knew that there wasn't actually going to be talking about games, and that would be safe for E3. So when they actually started talking about sports and the TV side of it, a lot of people saying that was quite heavy, and yes, it was. Now, at first, I wasn't really that bothered that how heavy it was talking about the TV and sports side of things, simply because I knew that the games part of it was going to be released at E3. But thinking about it now, some of the things that I would like them to take the time to actually talk about how they work, they couldn't because it would involve showing off some games. So I understand why they didn't show them parts off. But looking at it now, if you can't show off all the parts of the Xbox because you can't show off the games, then did you really need to have a conference? It's like 19 days away from E3, well it was at the time. I don't understand why they couldn't have just gone, let's just hold it all in and at E3 just release every piece of information. So I think the conference on one hand was good because they didn't mess about, but on the other hand I don't think it was needed at all because they just did spend a lot of time just talking about sports and TV. But the one good thing they did say is obviously because the games is going to be coming up soon that we do have 15 exclusives coming to the Xbox One along with 8 brand new IPs, which I think is a terrific start to the actual life of the console. But this is where the hate boys stepped in because they only saw 2 games at it. The automatically was going, you've got no games and it's just about sports. No, they said that they will be talking about games later, and that's why there isn't any game information as of yet. But with them numbers, 15 and 8 IPs, I think that's a great start. But obviously, the hate boys didn't accept that information, and that's why there's just a massive amount of bashing going on the internet at the moment. And the good thing is as well, there was only one cringy bit really where he just went dominate, and for Microsoft I think that's really good because a lot of Microsoft conferences tend to be quite cringy, and like I said, it wasn't the best, but they did well to only have one major cringe moment. So the next thing then, let's just talk about the console. When I first seen it, I actually was disappointed, definitely disappointed when I saw it, because to be fair, the Xbox 360 I think was a pretty nice looking console, and then when they created the Slim, I believe the Slim is the sexiest console to date. Now that is just my opinion, but I love the curves, I love the sleekness of it, I love every bit of it. But now they've actually just released this, it just feels very blocky and square. Now more I look at it, more I'm starting to warm to it and I actually like it. Now I'm not saying this is an ugly console, but I'm not saying it's a sexy console like its original one. So I would have just like to see pretty much what they've already released, but just some more refined edges, a bit more smooth around the edges. But while Microsoft's obviously got all this limelight regarding its new release, Sony made sure it wanted to steal a bit of its limelight and also released a trailer of their console. Now this was just a once again teaser trailer, which was needed really. It's just probably just to start the hype, which is fair enough, and it just consists of lots of high-end like zoom in corner shots of the console so you can't see it as whole. But that doesn't stop people on the internet trying to piece it together and actually work out what the console looks like. So showing you an image now is what somebody's kind of guessed what the PlayStation 4 will look like, going from what Sony's official video has shown. Now that design I think is quite nice, it's quite sleek. Obviously I want to see what the plastics look like and stuff like that, but the only thing I don't like is the grill at the front. But obviously this is the artist kind of just saying where he thinks all these parts go, so fingers crossed there's not going to be a dirty great grill at the front. And obviously the other thing they're showing off is the controller, and I cannot be happier with that because I love the Xbox 360 controller. Nice, big, fits perfectly, and it sounds like they've just tried to refine it and make it even more perfect. They've now actually put like rumble controls in the triggers, which they call impulse triggers, so obviously when you pull away on the line in a car it kind of fights back, which I think is really nice. I can't wait to actually try what that feels like. They've tightened in the dead zone on the actual analog stick, because especially when they're driving sometimes I just want to slightly just edge my wheels a bit left, but there is a dead zone where I've got to pull slightly out, and sometimes the car veers off, so to tighten the dead zone is very nice. And at the same time they said that now it takes less force to actually push the analog stick, so it sounds like they have just refined it and made it a beautiful piece of kit, and it looks sexy as well. So as it comes down to the controller, beautiful. So let's talk about some of the features that they told us about. Now, first thing they actually spoke about was the snap mode, and when they first shown it off I went, oh that's kind of nice, but now I've had time to think about it, I'm actually thinking more how excited I am about it, because the idea of playing a game and actually being able to snap some form of application or something on the side I think is amazing, because the amount of times I've missed eBay sales simply because I've just left my phone down, so if I can snap eBay to the side and play a game, absolutely awesome. And I like how you can actually quite easily come out of games and into other applications, because there'll be nothing better to actually sit there, and if I'm in the lobby waiting for people to connect or join or something like that and I've got 30 seconds before the next game starts, if I can quite easily just jump out of the game and watch a bit of TV, check a score, look at my eBay listings and just whiz straight back again within 30 seconds, I think that's very nice, smooth, and I do like it. The other nice thing is obviously there's going to be a HDMI in, so obviously if you've got an external Skybox or something like that, you can plug that in and play your television through it, but I will be utilising that to actually be putting my Xbox 360 through there, so I can actually sit on the one if I purchase it and obviously play my games. But if I get bored but my friends are still playing games, I'll stay in the party and actually just fire up my 360 and play that through the HDMI cable, which is great. It means I haven't got to come off one console to the other. I know it does mean running two consoles, but the thing is it's quite nice that I can actually stay in the party to do so. Now, as they said, this is very heavy television driven, and obviously the information of how we stand in the UK with it is non-existent at the moment, because we need to find out more information about that. I can kind of guess they've already got a deal with Sky. Now, the thing is, there's rumours saying at the moment you need to plug in the external boxes, so therefore it's not Xbox One, it's Xbox One plus the external box. And then my camera just locked up again and stopped recording, which is awesome. So I'm trying a different setting now, which means you might see a lot of noise around the edges, and I do apologise, but to be fair, I cannot be asked to fight with this camera anymore when I keep talking about stuff. So as I was saying, that Microsoft already offer the service where you don't need a Skybox to receive Sky, you can just do it through an application, and that's the way I've been receiving Sky. So personally I think that they'll obviously roll that kind of service out where people will start to get rid of the boxes and just use an application, and instead of getting a signal from a satellite, they'll be getting it through a internet connection. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the gaming PVR. The people that don't know, PVR is your personal video recorder, and it kind of really annoyed me in the conference on this, because the idea of recording games was a bit of a deal breaker for me. I was like, do you know what, if Microsoft can't do it, I probably will buy a PlayStation 4, because I really want to have the ability to be able to record my games. Now, throughout this conference, they're showing all these bits and bobs off, and then he dropped the word in gaming PVR, and that was it. Just dropped the word out there and never went into it. Now, when I went and watched the PlayStation 4 conference, they spent loads of time showing how it all worked, and it made me go, wow, that's amazing. Whereas Microsoft kind of just dropped the word out there and didn't touch it, spent no time talking about it, and that's a major feature for me. Now, I understand why they didn't go into great detail of this, and that's simply because to show off the PVR, you're probably going to have to show off some games and see how it all works kind of thing, and with them not wanting to show any games meant they're not actually going to show all the features around the games. Which this brings me back to, so really did you need this conference? If you couldn't say everything because you can't show everything, then really did you need a conference? So yeah, that annoyed me that it didn't go into detail about that, so I can't wait to find more information about the PVR. The next thing they're showing off is how Kinect is actually going to be working with Skype, and the Skype call that they're showing, the quality of it looked really nice. I'm looking forward to have the ability to actually have a decent camera, because the Kinect camera is not that great at the moment, so to have a good camera so I can actually Skype to my friends, I think that's a great feature. They didn't go in too much into the party system, so I kind of hoping they've just abandoned the party system now and it would just be a Skype party system, which means it's going to be exactly the same. But to be fair, I always use a Turtle Beach headset, and when I talk to my friends on Xbox Party and then when we talk to each other on Skype, the quality on Skype is 10 times better. So if we can just have Skype parties instead of Xbox Live parties, I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Or just keep the party system but use the codecs or whatever magic you're using to power Skype, so both of the qualities are identical. Next thing they went on to talk about is how you can actually see what's trending in the world and trending with your friends. Now, a lot of the conference was giving you lots of bells and whistles that you're not really going to use, so this is something I'm not that bothered about, but I definitely will use it in some way, because I always play with a group of about 6 people, and we tend to play a lot of a certain genre like FPSs, and then every so often we go, we're bored of these now, we've broke FPSs and we need to find another game genre. And I think it'd be quite cool to actually be able to play a certain amount of games with friends, and we check our own trending, and if we see nothing but FPSs, we can just go, look, oh, we've affected our own trend, let's change that trend up. And at the same time, it's going to be quite cool to see what's trending across the world. So, nice little feature. It's not a selling point. They spent a bit too much trying to explain that when, to be fair, everyone's going to use it about that much. Then, at last, they did actually show us just 2 games. Now, the first of that was Forza 5, and it looks amazing from what I saw. I had to kind of watch it again on the internet because I was watching it through Xbox's live event viewer, and that doesn't broadcast at 1080. So to show next generation high definition graphics on a very poor quality video is completely wasted, and you couldn't actually tell how good it was. But now I've actually spent some time and looked at the 1080 footage. It looks very nice, and the additional thing that they've put onto it, and I do really like the idea of, is just running commentary over the top of it, because people that play FIFA have always had commentators commentating on the skills and stuff like that, whereas in the actual racing kind of area we've never had that. So I quite like the idea if I'm actually going to go neck and neck at somebody and somebody's commentating it all the way over the top. So I really like that feature being brought to Forza. The next thing they're showing off then was Call of Duty Ghosts World Premiere, and the first thing I want to say is don't ever come on the stage and turn around and say this is the best game we've made yet, because I f***ing hope so. You don't need to say that to us. I would never expect you to come onto the stage and go, this is nearly as good as World at War. I understand it's going to be the best game. Well, I bloody hope it's going to be the best game. And I've obviously said that the new thing they're going to introduce is dogs, which kind of made me laugh, because when you watch the trailer and read some news, it's like we're a group of tactical, quiet stealth team with a dog. Quiet, Rex. We're going in silent. So yeah, we're going to find out how many times the dog blows your cover on that. At the same time, they said they're going to be talking about a really strong story and a heartbreaking ending, which blatantly means the dog's going to die. So Activision, just don't kill the dog, because I'll get attached to my animals in games, so just don't kill my canine. And then they gave a bit of dribble saying we've now got dynamic map offense, which is a brand new first. No, it isn't. Battlefield have been doing it for ages. You can play that and there's just random earthquakes happen every so often. But all in all, looking at it, it does look quite nice. I am actually interested. I kind of jumped off the Call of Duty bandwagon a long time ago and went with Battlefield, and I've played too much Battlefield now, and I think it's time to perhaps retire Battlefield and perhaps have a look at Call of Duty again. So yes, call me interested. I definitely want to see more about that game. And then nothing, the conference just ended. I don't understand why they didn't finish it off saying thanks for looking at the next generation console, and to find out the information about all these great games we've got, check us out at E3. They didn't, and they just left it open. And that's when the hate boys went back and went, whoa, there's no games for that console. So the thing I want to talk about now is the rumours. Now straight away, the strongest rumour, the rumour that just wound me up completely, is everyone was like, oh, that's it, we found out now that you can't play secondhand games. And that went around like wildfire, and IGN and Kokoto and everyone was reporting it. I was like, where did this information come from? And then next minute it came out, oh, you can play it, but you got to charge. And then everybody changed the stories, and the internet went mad for an entire day of just nothing but rumours, people taking rumours and passing it as facts, saying you can't do this. And I just lost my and I can't even go on Reddit at the moment because it's just full of hate boys just saying stuff which isn't true at the moment. So where I stand with all this, I don't believe any of it at all until Microsoft confirm it. Now straight away they're saying they can't play secondhand games, and Microsoft did spark up and say yes, you can play secondhand games. So the first question that actually come up was, is there going to be a charge? Now, there's a very strong rumour that there is going to be a charge for secondhand games. But the thing that annoys me is a lot of people are using this now as fuel and saying, you've got to pay for your secondhand games. But what you don't remember is, this is where we stand at the moment. Xbox One can play secondhand games, that's it. There's no more confirmation yet. And that's the same stance for the PlayStation 4. But no one's questioned when they said, yes, you can play secondhand games. If there's a charge, no one's actually gone and questioned that. So at the moment, both of them, in my eyes, are standing in the same situation. Yes, you can play games. There may be a charge. We don't know. So I don't think anyone's going to win at the moment. And I know someone in the comments below is going to say, yes, they're definitely charging. And the thing is, I'm not going to take anything on. Even if it was on a website that I have faith in, I still don't believe it until Microsoft say it. And a lot of people are giving information saying Microsoft have said it. But then Microsoft's Twitters are turning around saying we haven't said it. And it's just an absolute mess. So I'm not going to believe anything until E3. But I do believe that we are probably going to get charged for secondhand games, because at one point there was talking about that you can still play secondhand games at a friend's house. So obviously you can take it to a friend's and let them demo the game, but to do so you need to sign in, which therefore kind of implies that you will activate it on your account, and then when you sign into your friend's console as your account, you're still using that same activation code. Now again, this is rumours and speculation at the moment, but I actually believe we are probably going to see a charge for secondhand games on both the consoles. Now at first this made me go, I don't want this. I don't want this. Do not charge me for secondhand games. It's not fair, and it angered me. It really did anger me. And it's over these past few days I've kind of just reevaluated everything, because we are coming to a new generation. Things are changing, and I'm thinking what things are changing for the good and what's changing for the bad. And this year we have seen a big company like THQ go under, and it is one of them things that I question, did secondhand gaming damage that? Because THQ was one of them people that created games that don't have gigantic longevity. So for instance, Activision make Call of Duty, which you play forever and a day, and then you've got DLC rolling out all the time to keep you playing it. So obviously there is secondhand copies, but a lot of people retain their original copy. So the amount of people that buy new is quite high, whereas THQ games, when you play them, time to sell them. So therefore the second-hand market on THQ games are massive. Now you could say on one hand that's THQ's fault, they should release more DLC and make their games last longer. Now no, I don't want that. The games they produced I enjoyed, and I didn't want them to change it in any other way. So this made me then think, is this my fault for buying second-hand games? And yes, it is. I believe it is. Now I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but this is my opinion. I've started to change my mind, and I actually want to make sure I am funding developers now. I don't want to fund the game shops. I went in town today and got, well, they attempted to rob me with some ludicrous prices for second-hand games, and it angered me, and it's made me go, you know what, I don't want to buy from you at all anymore. So on one hand, if they do start charging for second-hand games, I'm kind of with it. Obviously within the price bracket, we've got to find out what this price actually is. Now if it's a small fee, I'm quite happy to pay that. If it's a ridiculous amount of money, then well, it depends what ridiculous is. Like I say, I can't speculate until I actually know more information, but I am open to actually paying for a charge to play second-hand games, because I want to keep the publishers alive, and some publishers like EA will stay alive forever because they've got so much money, but we are losing the small good developers and publishers. But at the same time, this means that if there is a charge for second-hand games, I know myself I will actually start buying more first-hand games, buying them brand new. Now if I'm starting to buy more brand new games, that simply means I'll probably be buying less games, because obviously it's going to be a slightly bit more expensive. Now on one hand I'm like, oh, that means I'm going to play less games, that's bad. But thinking about it, I don't think it is, because we're coming to the end of the life of this generation. Xbox 360 games are so dirt cheap at the moment, and I've got stacks and stacks and stacks of them, and what I'm doing is I'm belting through game after game after game, and I am enjoying it, but I'm just going through too many too fast. And the idea of buying a game just one game because it was so expensive, I kind of like the idea of, because I'm going to play the hell out of it, and I miss them days when you was a kid and you used to get a game, you completed it, then you completed it a million times over and found every secret thing and did every different mission. Because for instance, I've got Lollipop Chainsaw at the moment, and I've completed it, and now I'm playing every little bit and side quest of it because I love it so much, and I enjoy this game more because I'm getting every bit out of it than I am playing all these just random games and just go done, done, done. Now I know this is just my opinion, and a lot of people will disagree with me, and rightly so, because you can have obviously your own opinion. And I know this is bad for when it comes down to parents that have to buy games because they can't afford, because games are expensive, yes, granted, and for them to not be able to buy second-hand games, well, they can, but obviously they need to pay charge, means it might cost them a bit more. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we'll be paying the normal price we do for second-hand games, plus we're going to have to pay for activation on top. It may mean that we actually see a price drop in the actual second-hand game, so they might be cheaper to buy and then we pay the activation, so it could work out kind of the same. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Personally, I'm open to being charged now for second-hand games, and like I said, I'm not aiming this that I'm preparing myself because it's going to definitely happen on the Xbox One. I'm saying I believe it's going to happen on PlayStation 4 as well, because to be fair, if one does it, I'll guess the other does it. And obviously the best thing about all of that is it does mean that the actual publishers will start to make more money, and publishers like EA don't deserve no more money, granted, yes, but THQ, we could have perhaps stopped them from going under if this was in place. So yeah, I don't know what people are going to say to that, but that is my opinion. I'm okay with paying for second-hand games. So back to the rumours now. The other rumour that we've got is there is going to be no indie market now on Xbox One. And some said there is going to be an indie market, but you need to have a publisher, which it just makes no sense, because if you've got a publisher, you're not independent, so therefore you're just making an arcade game. And another rumour come out saying that indie and arcade will be mashed together along with all the games, and they'll all just fall under the category of games, which I think is a stupid idea really, because I don't want to look through games and see some AAA titles and some terrible, because there is some terrible indie games, but they don't belong together. I like how they're separated at the moment, so I'll go from AAA knowing that's going to be ace, to arcade knowing that's going to be pretty damn good, going down to arcade knowing that's going to be terrible, but there is some gems in there, and I do like a good indie game. But this is all rumours at the moment, and someone's going to put an article down below, I know, but I don't believe any of it until it's come out of the horse's mouth. I know someone's got an article down below saying it's coming from the horse's mouth as well, but I still don't believe it until it's E3. Next thing that was also said, that it looks like we won't be taking over our digital content, well, digital games, digital music, digital movies, they'll all be transferred over to the Xbox One, but the games that we've purchased, such as arcade titles, won't be going across. Now that's no surprise to me, because the way the Xbox One works, the infrastructure has completely changed, and it makes absolute sense that these games will not work on the new one. Same as exactly what PlayStation 4 said. All the digital stuff won't be working straight away, but what they've said is they're going to be converting it over time in waves and releasing them, obviously, so you'll be able to replay them again. We haven't given Microsoft any time at all to explain this, so fingers crossed they're going to say the same thing. They're going to be rolling it out in waves once they've actually patched and fixed them to make them work on Xbox One. The other great rumour is 1 vs 100 may be coming back, or a similar game, and that is great because I absolutely love that game when it come out, especially how we've got the idea of all this snapping stuff and live leaderboards and everything going along. I think we can really utilise a 1 vs 100 game now. The other thing saying there is Microsoft have got the Rare team to bring back one of its original games, and I think that's great because Rare did do some great titles, so I'm looking forward to see which exact title that was. And on top of all of that now, Battlefield 4 have released 2 mock-up covers, which are for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, so that may be what our cases look like. Like I said, it's mock-up, it is from the official site, but this is mock-up at the moment, so we don't know if this is exactly what it looks like. Now for me, I think they look absolutely fine. They're very clean, very sleek, very bland, but there's nothing offensive about these, you know what I mean? I could happily live with these kind of cases. And the last thing is that they said that the 500GB hard drive will be non-replaceable. Now, first of all, I would have loved them to actually say we have a terabyte, especially now a lot of things are going digital. It is quite easy to take up space, but they do obviously have the USB 3.0 port on the back, and we can actually plug in an external hard drive, which I think is great. I will be utilising that. But at the same time, they said it's non-replaceable. Well, it's officially non-replaceable, but it's going to take a handful of days until some hackers come out and go, this is how you replace the hard drive. So, with all that information out there, where do I stand? Well, at the moment, I'm still backing for Xbox One, mainly because I'm a Microsoft user and I kind of want to stick with that console. But where I stand at the moment is Xbox One. I love the idea of all this snapping, multitasking and everything like that. I really like how you can snap things onto it. PlayStation 4 have confirmed they've got live streaming, which nothing's been said yet on the Xbox One, so I do love the idea of having a PlayStation 4 to actually be able to live stream games. Xbox One has the actual controller, which I do think is the best controller out of all consoles, so I want the Xbox One because of the controller. But at the same time, I think I actually like the PlayStation 4 GUI's, the graphical user interface, a bit more than I actually like Microsoft's. So it's kind of 50-50 mixed bag at the moment, but I would say I'm going to go with Xbox at the moment. So where that leaves us now then is I am looking forward to E3 to get some facts, some information and some looking at some of the games. But the major things I want to see is what are these rules and prices on these secondhand games, and how does this entire system work? Is there going to be indie support? Because I want to make sure that indie developers are obviously taken care of, because I think they are a great asset to gaming. With us not being able to take over the digital content, is there going to be some form of backward compatibility later on once you've actually spent time to convert some of the games? And last of all, show us some bloody games. And like I said, I knew the games wasn't coming, so I'm really looking forward to E3 just to get to see some of these 50 new games and the 8 new IPs. So that is pretty much me done and dusted. I'm looking for my beer. That's kind of my stance on everything. There may be a few things that you didn't think I'll have that opinion on, for instance the secondhand gaming, but yeah, like I said, I've had time to think, look at it, see where the market's going, see where we're damaging things, and I kind of go, yeah, I'm happy to do it. But I understand when it comes down to mums, single parents, people who can't afford games, it's going to be a massive problem. If there is a massive fee, we might be talking about a pound fee. So like I said, this is rumours and speculation. We need to wait till we get hard facts. So what I want to do is happily have your opinion of what I've said on this, but please do not pass off any rumours as facts down below, because I won't even comment, because I've seen so much of it in the last few days. I'm just tired from rumours now. So I'm going to leave you with the question of the week, and because I've had so much gaming information in, and if I said the question that I was going to say, I may open a can of worms and the comments thread is going to explode and it's going to be impossible to keep on top, because I do like to reply to everybody. So I'm going to turn it into a non-related game question for once. Peanut butter, where do you stand with it? Me, peanut butter, horrible. Why are you putting nuts in your buttery products? I cannot understand it. Peanut butter is bad. So yeah, have a fight over that one, because I can't fight anymore. I ain't got it in me. So yeah, so you were a fan of peanut butter. Amazing question, I know, but I haven't got the energy anymore. So that's me done and dusted, guys. I'm going to go and now hopefully piece this monstrosity together, because this camera has died so many times and I need to spend some good time working out why you are dying, beautiful camera. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for going all the way through this. And I thank you in advance for not being a prick and just passing more rumours around. But as I said, happily put your opinions of how you stand on the Xbox. Just don't be a hate boy about it. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you have a great weekend and cheers. Bye.